Hello, everyone. Welcome to PopCultX Little Talks. It's our conversation series where we chat with a wide variety of creative-minded people. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Angelique Rivera, who is an actress, filmmaker, and who is making her writing, film, directing debut in her new short film, I'm Not Okay. But first off, Angelique, welcome to PopCultX.
Thank you so much. It is so amazing to be here with you, Danny.
Or should I say welcome back, I guess. You were on once before.
Welcome back.
You were on once before when we were talking about the new nonprofit Life, or soon-to-be nonprofit Life.
Right.
But this time we're having you on just so we can focus on you and your journey as a filmmaker and actress. Now, what do you consider yourself more? A filmmaker, actress, or is it just all muddled together?
Oh my gosh. I feel like it's funny because I would say the beginning chapter of my career in entertainment, I would have been like, yeah, I'm an actor. Like that's it. But now this last half, I would say, of my career has really been focused on filmmaking. So it feels pretty even right now in terms of like the timeline. But for myself in the moment right now, I mean, because I'm still, we're on strike, so I don't really feel like I'm acting much anymore. This whole year was kind of like tossed away. And so I've been focusing way more on writing and preparing for my next short that I want to make. So.
Oh. Okay, maybe we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk about your current short that just got accepted or was accepted into the Orlando Film Festival, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that is titled I'm Not Okay. And that's an interesting title. What led you to call it that?
So when I came with the idea sort of just downloaded onto me one day. I was doing this, I was reading this book called The Artist's Way. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's an amazing book. I highly recommend. And that it was actually doing that because the book has a bunch of like, activities that you have to do and all these sort of like prompts and things. And it was during that book that I discovered, I was like, oh, I'm a filmmaker.
Oh.
That was like, that's what like came to me. And I was like, okay, so if I'm a filmmaker, then like, I guess I need to make a film because I hadn't made a film yet. I had just made like little sketch comedy, stuff that I had done in the past, but I never like, made a film. So I was like, well, I don't really have an idea for a short film. And in The Artist's Way, she recommends that you do they're called morning pages, and so it's basically just like stream of consciousness. When you wake up, you just write for like 3 pages straight, whatever comes into your head in that moment. And so I'd been doing this for months at that point, and I was in a really like frustrated place. I mean, granted, this was during COVID, and I just went through a lot of loss in my life. I had lost my father in January of 2020. And then 6 months later, my grandmother passed away, who was a very big parental figure for me as well. So it was just like this double whammy. And I was just grieving so much. I was grieving the loss of my jobs. Like I had booked a movie that I was supposed to shoot in New York, which was like my biggest dream. I always wanted to shoot a movie in New York. So there was just a lot of heartache, and I was really frustrated. And I still have the journal, so it's really funny to look back. I was just writing the worst things. Like I was just angry. I was like, I hate my life. Like I hate with all of it. Like I just was so just in a really bad negative state of mind. And it was in that moment where I felt like God had like whispered to me, like, what if like if you were to see yourself, like if you were a movie, if like all of these thoughts you were having, like you were saying them out loud and you were living this way out loud, would you like the person that you were watching?
Yeah.
And I mean, that I was such like a, like that in that moment, I was like, oh no, I wouldn't. Like, no, I would absolutely, I would hate that person. You know, I would not want to be around that person. And so it was like sort of like putting up a mirror to myself and being like, wow, like you're really going through it and you're in such a negative place, but it's like your mind, you're digging your hole deeper, like you're digging your grave deeper right now. You're not, your mind is in such a horrible, you have such horrible perspective right now, and you can't, I'm in such darkness that, you know, I couldn't see, I didn't have hope. I lost my sense of self. I like I couldn't really function in the same way anymore. And so, with that idea, I was like, well, I wonder if, you know, at first it was like, I'll just experiment. Yeah, like why not I just experiment and just see, like I'll write down all the thoughts that I have, right? Also, obviously I have all these thoughts that I'm writing in this morning pages journal, but then I can just sort of like explore all the other sort of thoughts that I have what in my day-to-day life and see what those are. And so it became sort of this experiment of like, okay, what am I thinking about? And I found I found that my thoughts in the during the grieving process, right, that where it was really fresh, I had just like a lot of negative self-talk and just kind of looking at the world through like this really like dark filtered lens, and just it all just seemed very not okay.
There you go.
It was all very not okay.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also that saying of just like, it's okay to not be okay. And so then there was also this acceptance of like, okay, I'm not in a good place. I become self-aware in the sense that like, I know that I'm not doing well and I'm going to need help. Right. And so, I started going to therapy and started getting more like spiritually engaged, I would say. So like just reading a lot more, you know, praying a lot more, like trying to like do all these different things. And it all started to really help, like talking to a therapist, like talking to God, like all of it, like it all started to really help. And then it was almost like really cathartic just making this short because now looking back, I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful. I'm not in that place anymore. Like I can see the growth from where I was to where I am now. And it's literally night and day.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like, really it's cool. Really, and I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what, you know, God was like hinting at. It's like, you know, like you know, put a mirror to yourself, see how you are right now. You're not going to like that person. So you're gonna have to change, right? Yeah. You're gonna have to do something about it. And part of doing something about it was like letting this all out into this short film and getting it out there, which I think for an audience member seeing this, I think a lot of people can relate to it.
That's what I was going to say. That is very relatable, what you went through, the catharsis that you had. And I think like any true artist, as you are, you took your own experiences and made something that other people can relate to and will find and be able to see themselves in. So that's really neat. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
Was it challenging to be your own director?
Absolutely. I said it after I wrapped filming. I was like, that was insane. I'm glad I had the experience, but I probably won't do it again. I won't direct myself, at least.
Okay.
I want to direct But yeah, like being the lead and also directing, I mean, I had to rely on my husband Arnau, who was basically assistant directing me at that point, you know? So uh he was playing producer, but also like, you know, being like, okay, we got it, let's move on. Cause I there was no time to watch back because
Yeah.
we shot it in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
It was very quick turnaround. I had maybe max 2 takes on setups. Like I had to move very quickly, and it was about 80% improvised as well. So
Nice. That's
there
really
was a
cool.
lot of footage. We had a lot of time we took a lot of time editing, a lot more time than filming. But I actually just really loved, that was part of my experiment as well, because as an actor, I love incorporating improv into my work. And so, and I've worked this way on certain sets, like with Gus Van Sant, when I was in his film Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. Joaquin Phoenix, you know, was the lead of that. And watching him work, he was never on script. He was constantly improvising everything. And then we would eventually kind of get to like the lines at some point. But what I realized was like, wow, like he's so free, you know, he's so free, and he is the character at that point. So he's really just living. And I think that's where a lot of his genius comes from, and like why he has these amazing moments in these films, because they're not written. They're completely coming from a place of him organic, just being present. Yeah, exactly. Like being present and being in the moment. So I was like, I wonder if I took that liberty with this, you know, since it is thought, you know, and she's compulsively thinking out loud. Sort of like, I kind of felt like you don't want to really plan it. You kind of just want to like go with what's really happening in the moment. And so, yeah, I found that, I just found that it worked really well with this story. And I mean, it was hard to edit for sure. I mean, the continuity was wild all over the place. But my editor's amazing and a literal genius. So he made it look perfect.
Very cool. Well, I want to read the log line for I'm Not Okay, just so people can understand what you're speaking about. So it says, one night, Hope prays for clarity after experiencing the worst year of her life. But when she wakes up and begins to think out loud, it challenges her way of living and perspective on life as a whole. So that's really speaks to what you were saying about thinking out loud and living in the moment, I think. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like for those who hopefully are able to watch it soon online, that they'll get that sense, because it's even though it's dealing with heavy topics like loss, grief, all these things, mental health, it really is surprisingly funny. So it kind of has this really cool balance of, you know, what a dark comedy is like, you know, it has these heavy topics. Yeah. But it's off very silly at points too. So yeah.
Well, and it also, if I'm looking at it correctly, it kind of imitates your own journey, or not struggle, but that you've had to get it into a film festival to where it's at right now. So there's also it mirrors the story itself. So it's been a couple years, you said, since you filmed this and edited it. What has that journey been like for you to finally end up now? You're going to be releasing it in a film festival. How has that made you feel?
Oh my gosh. It's so funny, because when I found out that it was going to premiere at Orlando Film Festival, I was at a conference. Actually, I was at like a filmmaking Latino filmmakers conference. So it was just like serendipity. It was just like perfect. Like I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all these people talk about filmmaking. And then the film that I've been like has been my baby for all these years and that I have worked so hard on, and it's my pride and my joy, and now it's, you know, it's got its first, you know, official selection acceptance. I was just like people were talking and I was just like, I had transported into another dimension. I was like so excited and so happy. And I mean, at some point, I basically, I didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't think that it was going to have its like film festival moment. I thought I would just, you know, release it online because it definitely deserves to be seen by people. And then that would be it. But that is not the case anymore. And so I'm really, really blessed. I'm super excited. I think the process of like the wait was, I grew so much in that process because you know, as a filmmaker, I think you feel like, especially first time filmmakers, I think that people think you need a festival to like approve you, right? And like say, oh, you're a filmmaker and you're, you know, you got to film into a festival, you're a filmmaker. And instead, I feel like I was on this journey of accepting, no, I am a filmmaker. Even if I don't get into a film festival with this film, I am a filmmaker. I made a short film and I'm going to put it out there in the best way that I can. But there was always something sad about not seeing it on a big screen. You know, I want to see it on the big screen. So to have it show in a theater, I'm like, it's just a dream come true. It's really like the most exciting thing for me. And, you know, it takes a lot of patience, the whole, like, I mean, this is why movies take so long, you know, like you don't really understand why it takes so long for like movies to come out or things like that, because it's such a long, arduous process. Like just every aspect of it takes so much time. And the distribution part was something I'd never experienced or, you know, knew about. And I went the film festival route. A lot of people don't even go that route anymore. They just go straight to like digital and different like platforms now. But I, being a first time filmmaker, I really wanted to like have the experience of meeting other filmmakers and like, you know, just being in person with people and seeing other people's films and like, you know, talking and networking and doing all that stuff too. So that's why I really wanted to go the film festival route. But yeah, 37 submissions later.
All it takes is one, though, right? All it takes is one. And I got a finalist one early on. Like I got I was a finalist for the Big Apple Film Festival, and I got that early on. And I was like, okay, great. Like, you know, let's get them. And then it was like nothing for like a year. Yeah, it was like I started submitting January of 2022. Okay.
So, wait, was it 2022? Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah.
Checks out for calendar-wise, I think. Yeah, for a year.
Right.
So what kind of advice?
It's been over a year. That's true.
What sort of advice would you give to a new filmmaker like yourself who might be, you know, teetering or struggling with that patience of waiting for the acceptance? What kind of advice would you say to them to tell them to stay strong with that?
Honestly, I feel like once your film is done and you've submitted it to all the places that you would want to like see it at, or that you just need to let go and like I honestly start moving on to the next thing. Like just get started on your next short, because if it's your first short, like you're not like, it's the beginning. You're really at the start. So, you know, whatever your next project is, whether you want to work on another short or a pilot or, whatever, just stay creative and just keep moving forward. And, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and you'll get that acceptance. But like all these festivals, when you especially because you want to submit to the like early deadlines, and when you do that, it's almost like a year before the festival. Yeah. So you're going to be waiting, regardless. So, just, keep submitting your project and make sure it's exactly how you want it. Make sure it's the best, make sure everything's done. And then once it's done, you just got to let it go, let it be. Let people watch it, show it to as many people as you can to just like show them your, it on Vimeo, give them the private link, like just talk about it with people. Like, obviously it's still like very important. But also remember that you still have work to do. So just move on to the next idea, move on to the next thing. And that will keep you motivated, and that will keep you almost as distracted as well. So you're not just like on your computer waiting and refreshing your email. Like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Like, like we don't want that for you.
Yeah, exactly. Is it going to be, or how is it going to feel once it debuts? And there's the audience finally gets to experience it. How nerve-wracking is that going to be for you after, once the reactions and the feedback comes pouring in?
I'm so nervous. I'm very nervous. Especially because it's such a vulnerable piece. Yeah. So I haven't, even when my mom was watching it, because I had her watch like an early like version of it. I couldn't like be in the same room as her. Like I had to go busy myself somewhere else.
I hear you.
But I could like hear her like when she would laugh, and I would like look over to her and be like, she's laughing. And then I would like look over again, and then she would like start crying. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, she's crying. It's working. And so it was like, that was my first experience of having someone other than someone who had worked on it, see it.
Oh,
so
cool.
To show it to my mom, I mean, it was really special. And once I saw her reactions, I was like, okay, we're good. Yeah. I think this is good. And so from then on, I would like show it to friends and colleagues that said, hey, like, I want to see it, like send it to me. And so I would send it to people, and I've always gotten such great feedback on it. From so many people that are filmmakers, people that aren't, that are just my friends, and they just, are, viewers of TV and film. But I've always received such great feedback. The only feedback I've gotten that may be helpful for first-time filmmakers is that my short is longer. It's 30 minutes, which is usually very hard for people to be able to program into festivals. So that was a big learning lesson for me. Yeah. And I kind of knew that, but there was no place in my heart to cut it to 15. I couldn't,
wow,
I just couldn't do it. Yeah. That would be hard. It'd be half the film, so it's like, I just didn't want to compromise either. I just knew the way that it was just, this is how this is. And I'm not going to compromise my film to maybe have an easier chance into getting into a festival. Just wasn't worth it for me. So, so I just kept it as is. And so I'm glad that, it's accepted into a film festival, that it's my version, it's not a version that I would compromise on, right? It's my version of the film that I want people to see. So I'm glad that, even though it was hard to program for maybe a good amount of the festivals, at the end of the day, I stayed true to like my vision and what I wanted. So that to me is a bigger win for me.
Right. So people can't ask for the Angelique cut because it's already there.
It's there. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I know. I'm like, me working with a studio would be so It would be so like, we'd be fighting tooth and nail. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what
Right.
it is. And I understand like the Zack Snyder's of the world. Like I get it because you have your vision, you have your
Absolutely.
idea of what this film should be, but then you have all these, people up top that are telling you like, no, take this scene out, take this out. Like it's too long. This scene plays too slow. Like blah, 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 blah. And it's like too many cooks in the kitchen,
This is my film, not yours.
Yeah. It says a Zack Snyder film, it's an Angelique Rivera film. Okay, yeah,
Right.
this is mine. So I want to be able to have, the final say, and I want to keep the artistic integrity of this project. So I sympathize with him.
Oh, you are absolutely a filmmaker. So there you go.
I've made it.
With that in mind, though, so what's next for you then?
So I am working on another short. Well, I'm like on my second draft of a short that I'm, this time around I self-funded my first short. So my second, I'm definitely looking for funding.
Cool.
So been submitting it to, different like short film fund programs that are out there, that especially those for like people of color and things like that. So yeah, I'm in the process of doing a submission for Rising Voices. And that's my next thing is that I'm hoping I can get funding and do another short, but I will just direct this time. I have made a pact with myself that the next short I do, I must only direct and produce. I will not, and write, obviously I wrote it, but I will not be the lead of this.
Okay.
But she is another Latina lead. So, but I have so many Latina friends, so I'm sure one of them will be able to knock it out of the park. I do have that kind of personality though, where I feel like, man, I just feel like I'm the only one that can do this role. Especially when you write it, because you're like, I'm basically writing this for me. But like, I do find it really important that I show that I show just my directing side and be able to just focus on that. Because visually, I'm such a visual person. And I think there's just so much I wasn't able to do by not watching the monitor on the, oh, my light went out. There was just so much I wasn't able to do when I was just constantly in front of the camera, there was things that, I'm lucky it turned out so great, but the next project for sure, I think it's going to be more beneficial for the project if I'm just on the directing side.
Gotcha. You can always throw yourself a cameo in there, like M. Night Shyamalan or something like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I honestly, I even like I saw Don't Worry Darling the other night, and I could totally see myself doing something like that, where Olivia Wilde, she wasn't Florence Pugh's character, but she was in the film. Right. And I could totally see myself doing a role of that size and also directing. But yeah, but there's a reason why she wasn't, the lead in that movie. Like it would be too much. And I actually really liked her, directing style in that film too. And so I think just creatively, it helps when you can just be focused on one thing, right? Yeah. And directing is such a huge role, right? That it's like it deserves all of you. And so yeah, I definitely want to do that, and hopefully that that will be a project that will hopefully maybe get me into some directing programs, things like that nature. So that's sort of where I see myself going in the future. And then with acting, I'm still auditioning, and that's, still an open area for me. So just probably I'm just going to be focusing on, auditioning for things that I'm really excited about and would really want to be a part of.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So being a little more selective with the acting roles, because I do find that I just love, like, I love being a part of the filmmaking process. I love being there from the beginning to the end. It's so much more fulfilling for me. And when you're just an actor, it's like you kind of just go in for the shoot and then you're done until it's like time to promote, you know, and stuff like that. But it's just it's fulfilling when you see your work on the big screen as an actor. But for me, I'm just such I feel like I have so many skills beyond that, where it's like I love to get things made and done, and I love overseeing things, you know. So
I gotcha. I understand.
And I have such a vision, you know. I'm a storyteller, so I also have my own stories that I want to tell.
Right.
And as an actor, you know, you don't really get that. You don't get that. So
right. You're a character in someone else's story, which it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I realized I can't just do that.
Yeah. Are there any directors or filmmakers that are really inspirational to you?
I really love Jordan Peele. Because I love his career, like just how it's just transformed so much. You know, because he started in like sketch comedy. And like Key and Peele is genius to me. I'm like, it's like just so genius. Awesome. And then for him to then become like this, you know, director, this horror genre director, which is so not what you expected from him.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
So surprising. But he's brilliant, you know, he's genuinely brilliant. And just to see him go from this one like field of entertainment to another and like cross genres like that and do it so well. I'm really inspired by him. I would love to like work for him. I don't know. I'm like Monkey Paw, if you're hiring.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to work for you. It's just one of those like. I also, you know, I'm just really impressed by people who are not afraid and take risks. Yeah. And I'm just like anyone like that, like even. You know, with Margot Robbie, I really respect her as someone who was seen as like this, you know, hot new actress, and how she really changed that narrative for herself and was like, no, like I'm gonna be the type of characters that I want to be, and they're not going to be about, you know, whatever you want to pigeonhole me as. Like, I think she was so smart in producing and you know, forming her production company, and now you see with Barbie, it's just like, you know, she has, she's been so smart and taking control of her career. And, I admire artists like that are, you know, willing to go the extra mile in order to, tell the stories that they want to tell and
absolutely
take those risks. Yeah.
Very true. And finally, so we are recording this, and it is currently Hispanic Heritage Month or Latin Heritage Month. And I know we're both big proponents of having the Latino voice being heard. What can you share about, I guess on that topic, is there anything that you'd like to share about that? Don't have a really question, just whatever you want to share about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a, it's, you know, it's our time of the year to highlight all of the work that we do. And I just love my culture. I love being a Latina. I love all my Latinos and my Hispanics. And I think we're amazing. And I think there's so much untapped potential in our community and untapped talent. And I'm just really excited to see where we can go from here, because there's only up, really.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, as long as representation doesn't decrease like it has been, there's only up.
Yep.
So we just, I think we're resilient. And I think that um, we can do anything. I think that, and we just need to like not only show people that, but see ourselves as that. So, just seeing ourselves as all the beautiful kinds of unique people that we are, and embrace each other
That's key.
for
Yeah.
our differences as well. Whether you're Mexican or Peruvian or Colombian or Puerto Rican, like, just embracing each other for what makes us unique, and also what makes us very similar. There's a lot of similarities too. So I think we have a really beautiful community, and I think that banding together, and all the work that we do with life, and just bringing a community together, a unified community together, and seeing how we can help each other, how we can support each other. What advice can we share with one another? What experiences can we share and find common ground on? And how can we accelerate our growth together as a community? I think is the work that we all should be doing, not just this month, but all year round.
Yep.
Yeah. So support Latino voices in film and entertainment, and give us stuff to do, get us to work. Like, yeah, like staff us, like hire us to direct TV, like, greenlight our films.
Let us tell our stories. Absolutely.
Let us tell our stories. Yes, absolutely.
Very cool. Well, if people wanted to follow you on social media or follow it, I'm Not Okay Film, where can they find you?
Yes. So on Instagram, it's at Angelique Rivera. And if you want to follow the short specifically, it's at I'm Not Okay Short. And on Twitter, or X, I should say, at Angelique Yvette, and then at I'm Not Okay Short again on Twitter. So you can find us there.
Find, follow, and share and support.
Yes, absolutely. Please. All the things.
Well, Angelique, thank you so much for stopping by PopCultX to chat about your film and your journey for it. We appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much for giving me this platform and sharing my story. And it's always so great to talk to you. And yeah, until the next one.
Until the next one. We'll talk to you later then.
Okay, thank you so much.